No, ma'am.
Okay, and have you gone through the recordings of the classes which you have missed?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Just yesterday.
Okay. So today you guys are having a test in the evening. Are you guys prepared?
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. Almost.
Not fully, ma'am. Still need to revise.
Okay. So today we are going to start with employment law. Okay, page 125. Just a minute. Right. Employment law, chapter 8, contract of employment. What do you think we are going to study in this chapter? By the name, by the topics that is right in front of you.
The rights of employee.
Okay. Anything else, Kinza?
What are the basic problems employee face, and maybe the
Okay.
basic.
So you are saying the rights of an employee, the problems of an employee, how can law address these problems? What does the law state about it? And what are the remedies that the law provides to the employees or employers who have been wrongly treated? Okay. So let's start. What is an employee? First of all, when you hear this word employee, what comes to your mind? Yes, I would like to ask you before you read anything.
I'm getting hired by a firm, and I have to
Okay,
do
number
the
one,
responsibility.
getting hired by somebody means an employee. And Ali
Will have to follow whatever the responsibilities given.
will have to
What's the
fulfill
question, ma'am?
responsibilities. Okay. My question is, what comes to your mind when you hear this word employee? So Kinza
Hmm.
said it means getting hired by somebody, fulfilling responsibilities. What else?
Oh, right. Nothing else.
What else? When you hear this word employee, what comes to your mind? Or whenever you go to an
Employer.
organization, I guess both of you are doing job somewhere, right?
Hmm.
So both of
Right.
you are an employee. So you tell me who is an employee? What does he do? Getting hired, fulfill responsibilities, and what? And what else?
And enjoy an environment, professional environment.
They work in a professional environment, okay.
Hmm.
And okay, let me make it easier for you. What would you say that yes, these are the qualities or characteristics of an employee in comparison to an employer or a businessman who has his own work?
When we talk about businessman has all the risk. The employer, the employee, but the employer on the other hand just get the salary. They are
Good
not
point.
bearing up the risk.
Kinza, good point. Employer takes risk. Businessman takes risk. On the other hand, employee does not take any risk. He knows his salary is fixed. There is no risk. Whether the business is making a profit or a loss, employee is getting the pay on time. Right? So there is no risk. Does not take risk. Good point, Kinsa. And
Fixed time of an employee.
fixed time. Fixed time. 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 10 to 4, whatever. It's a fixed time. And businessman, does he have a fixed time?
Extra,
No,
yes.
No. Right?
he even works over the
Yes.
weekends. Yeah.
Exactly. So what does a businessman do? He is taking care of his baby, and you know that mother has a 24 into 7 role. So the same way the business is a businessman's baby, and therefore it is always going on in his or her mind. 24 into 7 into 365. There is no break, there is no 9 to 5, or there is no fixed time. All right. Next. Any other thing you feel you have missed or you need to say?
Employee is sometimes not that motivated as a businessman
Right.
because the
Employees,
businessman has to cover all
they
the.
get, can we say it this way that they can bunk,
Yeah.
they can bunk from their business, from the job for few days. They can take offs, they get paid leaves. Does a businessman get a paid leave?
No.
So he get paid leaves more, plus employee gets bonuses, right? Employee gets more opportunities for training. What else? Employee might also get an insurance. Yes or no? Aren't you guys
Yes.
getting all of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting bonus? Are you getting some trainings? Are you getting some kind of insurance? Okay, so let's come to the point. What is an employee? We know what is an employee. But why at F4 level or law paper, why we need to study what is an employee? It's but obvious we have studied F1, we have studied MA1, FA1. We have a good knowledge about business, and we have good knowledge about what a job is. We have good knowledge about what are the basics of business. So we are well aware of the fact that who is an employee. But why in this law paper we are again being taught this? So here we are going to understand that how law sees an employee and why is it important to define who is an employee and who is not, because the laws are different for both. The law would look differently if an employee comes and claims for a case, and if an employer comes and claims, the law would look at him differently. Moreover, there is a third terminology which is in existence: self-employed, third category. If a person is coming to us and he has a grievance or he has an, a case to file, and he says that okay, my boss mistreated me, okay, and he says my boss did not pay me for the services I gave to him to his business. If he is an employee, there are different set of laws to protect his rights, to announce the judgment, to give a penalty. And if he is not an employee, he could be a self-employed person. Then the laws would be different, the rules would be different, the judgment passed would be slightly different. So that is why it becomes crucial in this paper to understand that there is a difference between employee, there is a difference between a self-employed and an employer, a businessman. And we need to understand and exactly know the definitions of these three persons, these three categories. So here we go. Ali, would you start reading?
Yes, sir. It's an important to distinguish between a contract of service employment and a contract of services independent contractor. Each type of contractor has a different rule for taxation, health, and safety provision, protection, and very vicarious liability in tort and contract. A contract of service is distinguished from a contract for services usually because the parties express the agreement to give one of the services. This does not always mean an employee will not be treated as an independent contractor by the court. However, much depends on these three tests: control test, integration test, and economic reality test.
All right. What did you understand, Ali?
Means it's important to differentiate normal employee with the contractor, and the code does these three tests to split them.
Okay. And what are these three tests? We will be looking into it shortly. But first, we need to understand that what is a contract of service and what is a contract for services. When you say contract of service, it means you're talking about an
Employment.
employee. Okay, you have signed a
Yes.
contract with a person, and that person could be individual A. बहुत बातें हो रही हैं भाई. I'm getting disturbed. All right. So this over here, A, person A, individual A, what is he doing? What is this individual A doing? The individual A is signing a contract, and in this contract, he is agreeing to what? To work, to do a particular job. And that job could be either to teach, that job could be either to take care of the plants, that job could be either to take care of the canteen, that job could be to either to provide any kind of software services, any maintenance, or either could take care of the accounts, the filing work. But it is for a job. Are you getting the point? For a
Yes, ma'am.
service.
A
It's not
specific service.
a specific service. I'm hiring a person specifically for marketing. I'm hiring a person specifically to do the administration work. I'm hiring another person for HR department. So the role and the job is one for over here, contract of service, employee. And for contract for services, what is it? Self-employed. And what is self-employed? What does he do? Can you give me an example?
A person who has invested, plus he's also working in the business.
Okay. Ali?
Self-employed means uh, who does his job, like who does the task when he wills
A
to do.
boss, actually, ma'am.
So you are saying that a contract for services is done by a boss, independent contractor. Is that what you're saying?
Hmm.
Can you give me an example? Like I gave you example for an employee, I can hire a teacher and he teaches. His job is to teach a particular subject. He's an employee. I hire a person for marketing. He's only responsible for marketing stuff. I hire a person for administration. He's only responsible for administration stuff. Okay. How can you give me an example of a self-employed person? How is he different from an employee?
Like, for example, if a principal is there, so that if a principal has also invested in the business, so the principal is self-employed because he's doing the job, plus he has invested. He is actually the boss. So
Okay,
when both of the
so
things
Kinza,
comes together,
you're saying that self-employed is a person who invests in a business and he also does a job. Then can
yeah,
you tell me who is an employer? What does he do? How is he different from self-employed?
Ma'am, hmm,
Ali?
let me, yes, ma'am. Well, for example, an employee is confined to stay within the boundaries of the office, whereas the self-employed is brought particularly to the premises of the office, or depends on the service getting done. For example, if we need to uh, if we need some IT expertise, So we don't hire an employee like for the temporary basis. Yeah, if the part and parcel of the job, then we would hire an employee. Other than that, we would be hiring the self-employed person for the temporary basis. And once we get the job done, like his tasks are done, like there would be no such requirement for that employee, and that
Okay,
is
Ali. All right, Kinza, now pay attention. Self-employed is a person. I am giving you examples and then you will explain it to me what you understood. In my organization, in Isar School of Accountancy, self-employed is a plumber,
yep,
an electrician,
an electrician,
a person who has come and set up
painter.
the solar panel. Okay, the solar
Hmm.
panel team.
Okay, you
All
mean
right.
that the person who is not directly connected to the business, but is indirectly doing something for the business. Is it what you mean?
Okay, I'll give you some more examples. I have also some self-employed teachers. We call them visiting faculty.
So just like Ali said, not permanent, but doing their job and just going.
They are not on a salary payroll.
Oh, okay.
They are not on a payroll. Payroll means every month we have to pay that particular employee, that particular person. So the self-employed person is not on a payroll. Number one, that's the key difference. Number two, he is not considered to be an employee or part of the organization. He is not
होने
part
दो.
of the organization. He is not the team of the organization. But he can be treated, or he is a freelancer. We hired him just on a temporary basis, just to fix the washroom, just to fix the AC, just to fix some lights. We pay him on the spot and he goes away. Finished. Maybe another day we need the electrician, and it is highly possible that we do not call the same person who fixed the lights earlier. We can call another person because it's a freelance job, and maybe he's not available, or maybe we feel his charges are too expensive. We switch, we change. But an employee, does he change on a regular basis? Like आज एक एम्प्लॉय से काम करा लिया, कल दूसरे चेंज कर दी, दूसरे एम्प्लॉय से काम करा लिया, ऐसा हो सकता है क्या? Even if today a
No,
person is absent, if today a person is absent, what was his job to do? His job is to do marketing, okay? And he is absent today, but because he has been doing this job for a year or maybe for 6 months, for one day I will not easily replace that position by anybody else. I can't, for one day. But yes, if he has informed me that he will not be present for a month, for 2 months, he's going on a long vacation, or maybe he had an accident and he needs to be on the bed rest for at least 6 months, then I have to replace him or his position. Otherwise, I can't. बट येस, अगर आज लाइट नहीं जल रही और वो इलेक्ट्रिशियन अवेलेबल नहीं है जिसने पहले आके ठीक की थी, तो आई कैन इमीडिएटली कॉल अनदर वन. Immediately, I cannot just wait for him to come back, for him to get well. Am I clear on this?
Yes, ma'am.
So payroll, number one difference. Number two difference is irreplaceable. Who is a replaceable? Employee is irreplaceable on a short term, but the self-employed person is replaceable on a short term,
Short term.
right?
Yes.
And looking at the examples, can you figure out any one more characteristic of self-employed person?
uh, independent of the time.
Independent of time, okay, not time bound, fine, we can say that. And
Does not have much obligations of the environment laws.
Okay. When you join a company for a job, is the computer or laptop you take it with yourself, or is it provided by the organization?
Organization.
Organization
Tools
provides the
provided by.
tools, right? But
Hmm.
when a plumber comes to fix the washroom, does the organization provide the tools?
No.
No.
Major difference. Okay, does the organization guide the plumber that आप ऐसे fix करना washroom को, तार यहाँ से निकाल के वहां जोड़ना? Do we guide or do we tell as an organization the nitty gritty or the detailed planning of the task he is supposed to do?
No.
Or we just tell him the bigger objective and it is कि पानी लीक हो रहा है, इसको किसी तरह देख लो कि क्यों लीक हो रहा है, कहाँ से लीक हो रहा है, and let us know what is required.
And ma'am, the wage amount, the salary amount or fees also vary, because if it's
Fee
an
varies.
employer, yeah,
Yes, fee
so
varies.
every month it's going to be a
काम के
same.
ऊपर
But
डिपेंड करता है, इट्स नॉट फिक्स सैलरी बेस्ड, काम के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, जितना बड़ा काम उतनी बड़ी फीस, उस हिसाब से जितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड काम वैसी फीस, ठीक है? एनीथिंग एल्स? So, and on the other hand, if we compare it to an employee, when employee comes to the organization is giving the employee proper training कि ये काम चाहिए और इस तरह से चाहिए और ऐसा ही करना है, and this is the path that you need to walk on. Okay, and these are the tools
yeah,
which you are going to use, this is the language which you are going to use, so the entire guidance, the nitty gritty of the guidance is also given by the organization.
yeah, the
That's a
format,
difference.
everything.
Whereas self-employed, he's an expert of his job, he knows what to do, there is no need to tell him the details, but yes, what we can do, we can just tell him the bigger objective, ye karna hai. What we can do, we can just decide or bargain the charges a little bit, and that's it, and then we hand it over to him. His job, his team, his tools, his timing, and he's going to decide on every nitty gritty. That is a self-employed. Now, can you give me one more example of a self-employed person, which is not mentioned over here?
Ma'am, in gyms mostly they call trainers, or maybe in school sometimes they call up teams to guide teachers, to train teachers.
Okay, yes, yes, good. Anything else? Have you observed somebody in hospitals?
Yeah, special doctors.
Doctors. The panel of doctors are all self-employed. Some are employees, but some are on self-employed basis. They come, they just visit for 2 hours and they go. That's it, right? Then the surgery, the operation theater, the tools are provided by the organization, yes, but which tools he is going to use for the operation or which tools he needs, he is going to tell. And he is going to operate because he has that knowledge. He is an expert. So the organization will not tell, the hospital will not tell the doctor, beta aise operation karte hain. But the doctor will tell the organization these things are required and I will be operating this way and on this day and this will be the time and this will be my charges.
And
So
the doctors will be making up the decisions, not the organization.
exactly. More decision power will lie on the experts. Okay. But in the employee or employer case, the employer has more authority and more power. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Now, whenever a case comes to the court, the judges, that's the first thing they decide upon कि सामने वाला जो आया है, the claimant, who is he? Is he an employee or is he a self-employed person? Because usually people don't know the difference. People don't know that they think that they are employed, but they are not employed. They think they are self-employed, but they are not self-employed. So these three tests come into existence and it becomes crucial for them to uh, get to know before they start judging the case or examining the case. So the control test, control means the power, the authority lies with whom? With the organization or with the person? Then integration test मतलब वो organization के अंदर टीम का हिस्सा है या वो आता जाता रहता है. That means he is called upon or is he present there all the time? If he is called upon, जैसे हमारा एक बिजली वाला बना हुआ है, हम हमेशा उसी को कॉल करते हैं. तो हो सकता है हमारा इदारा बड़ा है तो हम रोज कॉल करके उसको बुला रहे हो, मगर वो एम्प्लॉय नहीं है क्योंकि हम उसको कॉल करके बुलाते हैं। हम उसको वहां वो 24 घंटे नहीं रहता एज एन एम्प्लॉय के 9 बजे आएगा 5 बजे जाएगा, 9 बजे आएगा 5 बजे आएगा, बट येट yes there are bigger organizations working on a huge basis, especially like hospitals, that they hire their electricians, they hire their plumbers, they hire the safety department, they hire the the maids who maintain the washroom. They hire them on full time. Why? Because they are huge, they are big, they are complicated, there are so many departments. यहाँ नहीं तो वहाँ, वहाँ नहीं तो वहाँ, कहीं ना कहीं काम तो रहता ही है, कभी कोई लाइट खड़क रही है, कभी कुछ रह रहा है, राइट? सो दैट इज इंटीग्रेशन टेस्ट। सो जरूरी नहीं कि जो एग्जांपल्स मैंने यहाँ पे दी वो लकीर की वो हो गया कि बस पत्थर पे लकीर होगी कि हर प्लम्बर ही सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड होगा। नो, we have to check, we have to test, we have to put him through the control test, we have to put him through the integration test, and then we have to put him through the economic reality test. That some things are on a formal basis, some things are done formally, but informally everybody knows कि ये तो यही रहता है, इसलिए तो सारा वक्त यही रहता है, इसका तो मतलब रोज का ही यही काम है, इसको तो मतलब ये कभी जाता ही नहीं है। So what is the reality? So economic reality test, yes, the financial terms as well as the what is happening in reality, how they are being treated, how the organization is treating them. Okay. So I hope all these three tests are clear. Let's move ahead. Kinza, please read.
An employee, ma'am, from journal, a journal.
Keita.
An employee is an individual who has entered into or works under a contract of employment. A contract of employment is a contract of service or apprenticeship, whether express or implied, and if it is express, whether it is oral or in written. A worker is an individual who works for an employer, whether under a contract of employment or any other contract where an individual undertakes to do or perform personally any work or service.
Okay, done. Okay. So I hope it is clear. We have done the explanation. Okay, I would like you to read these two cases and then explain it to me what it says. These two cases, Ferguson versus John Dawson and Massey versus Crown Life. All right. So have you guys read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Ferguson versus John Dawson and Partners, 1976. Who's going to explain?
Ma'am, the claimant, he was working with the farm, and now he got injured, and he's asking, he got into an accident. He's asking for the money on the basis that he was doing the uh, he was although doing the self-employed, but he was actually coming under. It's a bit confusing.
Okay.
The contract says that he's self-employed, but still the organization had the control over him, that they can send him wherever they like to work. So now they will have to bear it.
Let's take it step by step. Okay. First, the facts. A builder's laborer was paid his wages. Full stop. यहाँ तक क्या लग रहा है? लेबरर है, उसको वेजेस दी
Yeah,
जा रही है. यहाँ तक क्या लग रहा है? ये एक बात कि ये
self-employed.
एम्प्लॉय की बात है, सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड नहीं, एम्प्लॉय की बात है, क्योंकि
But
वो
wages,
लेबरर है, बिल्डर का लेबरर है और उसको वेजेस दी जानी है. वेजेस का क्या मतलब होता है? दिहाड़ी, वन डे
okay,
पेमेंट.
okay, fixed.
ठीक है,
Okay.
वन डे पेमेंट, वेजेस, दिहाड़ी. अब यहाँ तक लग रहा है, अभी बात हो रही है क्योंकि जो वर्ड्स यूज किए जा रहे हैं, लेबरर, वेजेस, लग रहा है एम्प्लॉय है, मगर हमें क्या रूल बताया गया है? कौन से 3 टेस्ट से गुजारने हैं?
Control,
कंट्रोल टेस्ट,
integration,
इंटीग्रेशन टेस्ट एंड
and
इकोनॉमिक रियलिटी
economic,
टेस्ट. ओके,
economic.
ये तीनों टेस्ट से गुजार के ही देन वी कैन डिसाइड कि भैया ये एम्प्लॉय है या सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड है. अभी हम ग्रेजुअली फैक्ट्स पढ़ेंगे एंड लेट्स सी व्हाट वी कम अप विद. Without deduction of income tax or national insurance contributions. All right, all right, all right. यहाँ तक लग रहा था हमें कि एम्प्लॉई की बात हो रही है, बट जैसे ही इन्होंने कहा कि हम
Income
उसकी
tax में.
सैलरी में से, उसकी वेजेस में से वी डू नॉट डिडक्ट इनकम टैक्स. ये तो सेम
So
कहानी
now
हो गई
self.
कि प्लम्बर को बुलाया, प्लम्बर ने
Hmm.
खर्चा बताया 1500, तो क्या उसके 1500 में से हम टैक्स काटते हैं? नहीं.
नहीं.
क्या उसके 1500 में से हम नेशनल इंश्योरेंस कंट्रीब्यूशन काटते हैं? नहीं.
No.
वी पे हम 1500 में से अल्लाह हाफिज, तुम जानो, गवर्नमेंट जाने हमारी भला से. मगर जो हमारे एम्प्लॉइज होते हैं, किसी भी कंपनी के एम्प्लॉइज, उसका टैक्स हम काटते हैं उसकी सैलरी से. यस और नो?
Yes.
यस. सो दैट इट इज. तो यहाँ तक जो बात लग रही थी, अब हमें समझ आ गई कि नहीं, माजरा वो नहीं है, माजरा सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड की तरफ जा रहे हैं. And the evidence, the first evidence that they are not deducting income tax, that's the first evidence. Then, and worked as self-employed contractor providing services. Okay, okay, ठीक है. बात अब पूरी तरह से क्लियर हो गई है, क्योंकि सवाल या एग्जामिनर ने खुद ही बता दिया है कि भाई वो तो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है जो सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करता है. बात तय हो गई, यानी एम्प्लॉय तो है ही नहीं, ये तो खुद ही सवाल ने बता दिया. Now I am showing you how you are going to look at the scenario in the exam. How are you going to read the question in the exam? Because in the F4 paper there will not only be short questions, but there will be MTQs as well, multitasking questions, which will have a proper scenario, and then as per the scenario they will either ask you to confirm which law will be followed, or they will ask you to confirm is he an employee or self-employed, what test proves it. So you must be looking at the situation and the scenario in such a way that you do not miss any point. Jaldi jaldi mein haan miss. Because this chapter, this particular section in F4, employment, is very scoring if you get each and everything. Usually क्या होता है दूसरे chapters में, कभी कभार ऐसा हो जाता है that some laws are a bit confusing, because of course it's not our day-to-day work. So this section, this particular section is very scoring and the questions come from here. So make sure you do not miss out anything on it. Okay. Right. So now क्या कह रहे हैं, ये providing services. यहाँ तक बात clear हो गई कि self-employed है. All right. Moving ahead. His employer could dismiss him. His employer, now यहाँ पे word दूसरा use हो रहा है, his employer could dismiss him, decide on which side he would work, and direct him as to the work he should do. Do you think that in this sentence, is the employer showing the nitty gritty of the work or just giving a big objective? मतलब जब कोई ऐसा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सिनेरियो आ जाए ना, ऑलवेज थिंक ऑफ द सिंपलर एग्जांपल दैट वी हैव डन इन द क्लास. क्या एग्जांपल है? प्लम्बर. प्लम्बर को बुलाया ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, तो हम उसको बताएंगे ना कौन से वॉशरूम में प्रॉब्लम है. तो हमने साइट बताई, हम उसको बताएंगे ना कि भाई तुमने लीकिंग वाटर ठीक करना है या कमोड ठीक करना है या फिर बेसन ठीक करना है. We will direct to the work. Okay. And what else is being said? His employer could dismiss
Dismiss.
him. हम उस प्लम्बर को बोल सकते हैं जाओ भैया हमें तुमसे काम नहीं करना, बोल सकते हैं
जी.
So all of these are matching with the things which we would do with a self-employed person.
Yeah.
It also provided the tools which we used. Now the tools test. Tools तो organization दे रही है, इदारा दे रहे हैं. तो हमने तो ये समझा था कि टूल्स तो प्लम्बर खुद अपना लेकर आएगा, इदारा तो कहाँ से देगा, मगर यहाँ पे इदारा दे रहे हैं. तो क्या ऐसा कोई सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड पर्सन होता है कि जिसको टूल्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देती है?
Sometimes, like if they have some special work, like I'm living in Imar, so the building, they are the plumbers, electrician, they are always supposed to ask the management first, and they provide the tools and they work according to them.
Right. So it is possible in a self-employed situation. You can take even the teacher. If I hire a visiting faculty, the tools are provided by the school, the board, the whiteboard, the marker, the flip chart, maybe he needs
Sometimes
a
your
projector.
gadgets. Yeah, projector.
It's provided by the school.
Yeah.
We can also consider hospital. The doctor comes in with his expertise, but of course the theater, the lights, the tools, the scissors and everything will be provided by the hospital, right or wrong? So it is possible. Now, he was injured in an accident and sued his employers on the basis that they owed him legal duties as his employer. Okay, there was an accident and that particular laborer got hurt. He was injured. So it is possible that my plumber is working in the washroom of the school and he gets hurt, he gets injured. He might go to the court as well. He might sue me as well. And he might ask that, okay, because you are my employer, so fulfill the legal duties. Now, what will be the decision? Or what should be the decision? So, the decision that is coming over here, that on the facts taken as a whole, he was an employee working under a contract of employment.
Just because the tools were provided by the organization.
Now, अब यहाँ पे एक जगह लिखा हुआ है सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर प्रोवाइडिंग सर्विसेज, फिर लिखा हुआ है हम उसका डिडक्ट नहीं कर रहे इनकम टैक्स, फिर लिखा हुआ है कि भाई हमने तो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव्स दिए हैं, ये तो मतलब कोई भी देगा एज अ सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड को, तो इतना तो इंस्ट्रक्शन कोई देगा ना. इट आल्सो प्रोवाइडेड दैट द टूल्स व्हिच ही यूजेस प्रोवाइडेड बाय द, ये भी मतलब सब तो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड का लग रहा है. तो फिर ऐसा क्यों कहा गया कि उसको एम्प्लॉय डिक्लेयर किया गया अंडर अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ एम्प्लॉय? क्यों? आई वांट टू आस्क.
Because
क्या समझ आ रहा है?
Because that person was in our premises and we are responsible for the basic security we give to our laborer or the workers. Like I've seen a lot of construction organization companies which they force their labor to wear helmets and follow the basic rules and basic safety measures.
Ali, what's your say on this?
Regarding this case?
Yes. Why the decision is coming to for him to be an employee? Why are they declaring him as an employee when In the question itself, it's written self-employed contractor providing services, and there are so many other evidences as well.
Because of the contribution he has been making for his retirement plan.
Because of the contribution, what?
Contribution he is paying for his retirement.
No. Now see over here. See. हमें क्या सिखाया गया, हमें बोला गया है कि भैया ये 3 टेस्ट कर लो, and when you test, these 3 tests should be fulfilled in order to declare a person self-employed or an employee. You should pass these 3 tests. Okay, I don't know why this is not working. Fine. So now these 3 tests: control, in integration, economic reality. कंट्रोल की जहां तक बात, कंट्रोल किसके पास था? ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास. इंटीग्रेशन की जहां तक बात है, we have to even keep in mind that what job or what industry की बात हो रही है, किस इंडस्ट्री की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे? कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री की बात हो रही है. नॉट डेफिनेटली, मतलब इट्स बट ऑब्वियस, मतलब इट्स बट कॉमन सेंस दैट a person is a builder and he wants to build a building. He calls a mason and he asks him कि भाई बिल्डिंग बनानी है, तुम लोग को आता है? उसने कहा हाँ, हमारा तो सर्विस ही यही है, हम तो यही सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं. ठीक है, हम कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से वो साइन करते हैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और हम बनाते हैं बिल्डिंग्स. मजदूर हैं हम सारे, मजदूरों की टीम है हमारी पूरी. अच्छा, तुम लोग आ जाओ, ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, ये जब तक पूरी बिल्डिंग तैयार नहीं हो जाती इसकी जिम्मेदारी आपकी है, और मैं सुपरवाइज करूंगा, मैं आपको प्लान वगैरह बताता हूँ, जैसा मैं बोलूंगा वैसा करना है. टूल्स भी मेरे पास हैं, सारे इक्विपमेंट्स हैं, वो सब हम ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, अरेंज करेंगे, आपने बस अपनी पूरी टीम को लेकर आना. ठीक हो गया. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज अ प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड वर्क. When you talk about project based work, and this building is a project, so unless this building, and it's a big project, it's not a very small project. बिल्डिंग बनाना और वॉशरूम ठीक करना, ये तो अलग चीजें होती है. ओके, सो यू मेकिंग अ बिल्डिंग, एंड ऑफ कोर्स जब आपने एक बंदे के साथ, एक सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर के साथ ठेका उसको दे दिया, सो नाउ इट्स हिज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि वो अपनी टीम को लेकर आएगा और रोज लेकर आएगा. तो अब यहाँ पे इकोनॉमिक रियलिटी क्या बन रही है कि उसको सुबह 9 बजे आना है, रात के 7 बजे तक वो बिल्डिंग पे काम होगा, 7 बजे सब मजदूर घर जा सकते हैं, और तब तक होगा जब तक बिल्डिंग बन नहीं जाती. जब बिल्डिंग बन जाएगी तो दे आर ऑफ, दे गेट देयर मनी एंड दे आर पेड ऑफ, एंड डेली उनको थोड़ा 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 पैसा मिलता है. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इसी तरह पूरा साइन होता है, देयर इज अ लंप सम अमाउंट, एंड हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू यूज इट ऑन अ डेली बेसिस, हाउ दे विल बी, इट्स ऑल, इट्स सब तय कर लिया जाता है पहले से. So now the economic reality makes them fall under the category of employee. But if you see, look at the technical things, the control is with the employer, okay, and the control is with the employer, the tools are being provided by him, and the accident, when accident happens, the employee says, he goes to the court and says कि भाई वो employer ने मेरे को hire किया था, तो मुझे चोट लगी है, तो उसकी जिम्मेदारी है वो थोड़ा सा अपनी ड्यूटीज निभाए. He should support me, he should pay for it, or maybe he should bear my medical expense. So now you see, ये तीनों तनाजुल में court is going to check that okay, control test क्या है, integration test क्या है, and economic reality क्या है, and then अब जब तीनों aligned होंगे for self-employed, then it will be treated as self-employed, otherwise it will be treated as an employee. So the decision came for them to be as an employee. Make sense? Are you following till here?
Yes, ma'am.
And if there is still some doubt as to the nature of the relationship, then where should we look into the agreement between the parties? कि क्या तय पाए, agreement क्या? So that is how it is.
But that agreement, that agreement should be written, or it can be even oral.
It can be oral, it can be written, both. Okay. Now, Massey versus Crown Life Assurance, 1978. ये किसने पढ़ लिया था?
Yes, ma'am. Here they are telling that there was a person who opted for self-employed. First, he was not a self-employed person, but now he opted for it, and he's no more paying the taxes and other national security stuff. And now he's being dismissed by the organization, and he's claiming that no, it's unfair to him, although but the court said that now he cannot claim he is not part of the organization because he himself opted for self-employment, so the company can dismiss him.
Okay, so the decision that is coming is that as he had adopted to become self-employed and his status in the organization was consistent with that situation, his claim to be a dismissed employee failed. What is he saying? He's saying, भाई मुझे निकाल दिया नौकरी से, मैं तो एम्प्लॉई था और मुझे गलत तरीके से निकाल दिया. But when the facts were gone through, it was decided no, he wasn't an employee, he was a self-employed person, and self-employed को आप कभी भी निकाल सकते हो. So what were the facts? The claimant was originally employed by an insurance company as a departmental manager. ठीक है भाई, बात समझ आ गई. ये ओरिजिनली उसको डिपार्टमेंट मैनेजर के तौर पे एज एन एम्प्लॉई ही अपॉइंट किया गया था. He also earned commission on business which he introduced. ठीक है, जबरदस्त हो गई बात, कमीशन भी कमा रहा था. At his own request, he changed to self-employed basis. खुद उसने दरख्वास्त डाली कि भाई मुझे सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड का स्टेटस चाहिए. I don't want to remain an employee. Tax and other payments were no longer deducted. चूंकि अब वो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड था तो जाहिर है उसका टैक्स की जिम्मेदारी कंपनी की नहीं है, इदारे की नहीं है. He is responsible himself. But he continued to perform the same duties. मगर उसने क्या किया, जो एम्प्लॉय की जो ड्यूटीज थी उसकी वो सेम ड्यूटीज परफॉर्म करता गया. और हालांकि उसने खुद रिक्वेस्ट की थी सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड और उसने खुद वो टैक्स वगैरह उसकी सैलरी से नहीं कट रहा था. The employers terminated these arrangements and the claimant claimed compensation for unfair dismissal. अब एम्प्लॉयर ने एक दिन उनको निकाल दिया और वो कह रहे हैं कि भाई मुझे क्यों डिसमिस कर दिया, मेरा क्या कसूर है, मैं तो एम्प्लॉई हूँ, ये है वो है. मतलब अपने आप को बचाने के लिए. तो अब डिसीजन क्या आया कि नहीं, वो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड था. एज ही हैड ऑप्टेड टू बिकम सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड, हिज स्टेटस इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वाज कंसिस्टेंट विद दैट सिचुएशन, हिज क्लेम टू बी डिसमिस्ड एम्प्लॉई फेल्ड. बात समझ आ रही है?
Yes, ma'am.
यहाँ तक क्लियर है? अली, आर यू विथ मी? Ali, I can't hear you. Are you with me? Okay, I still can't hear you. I think you've disappeared somewhere. Okay, ji. So now we know what is a control test. We now know what is a integration test. We know what is a multiple economic reality test. और इन सब के लिए एक एक केस है जो कि आप लोग खुद घर में पढ़ सकते हैं. ठीक है? It's all the repetition. Agency workers. What is an or who is an agency worker? Kinza, please read.
A status of agency workers has been the subject of numerous cases in recent years, as the numbers employed under such contracts have increased. Two key cases have considered length of service of agency workers and control that the client of the agency has over the work.
क्या है?
I think they are the service providers who help you to get to know about the case, that where the things are lying, which category is the case lying in.
Okay, now when you talk about self-employed, your agents are also a kind of self-employed. Now, how you will do that, how you will understand it, that whether they are self-employed or employed, because they are agents now. So you will check the length of service, the number of years they have been providing the service to you. You will see the control over the worker. Is he being an agent and he has sufficient authority to be your agent to represent your organization? If not, then what are the cases? So let's just go through it quickly. Number one, length of service. In Franks versus Reuters Limited 2003, Ali, are you there? Can you read?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, please read from here. Length of service. बीच में कहाँ गायब हो गए?
मैम वो डिस्ट्रक्शन आ रही थी तो सुन रहा था मैं पूरा पूरा।
Okay.
Okay. Length of service. Frank versus Reuters, Limited 2003. The agency worker has been providing services to the client for some 6 years, engaged in a variety of jobs, and was effectively so thoroughly integrated with the employer's organization as to be indistinguishable from the employee staff.
क्या
The
कह रहे
case
हैं?
was
क्या कह
remanded.
रहे हैं? क्या कह रहे हैं?
क्या ही कहने हैं इसमें, मैं ये बोल रहे हैं कि एजेंसी वर्कर जो है 6 साल से जो है ना बहुत सारी जॉब दे रहा था, तो एम्प्लॉयर की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से जो कि बिल्कुल इनडिस्टिंग्विशेबल थी एक
जब
एम्प्लॉयर
एक
से।
बंदा 6 साल से आपके इदारे में काम कर रहा है एज अ
हम्म।
फ्रीलांसर और एज अ एम्प्लॉय, तो अब बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है उसको डिफरेंशिएट करना कि भाई वो बाहर का बंदा है या वो अंदर का बंदा है, क्योंकि वो 6 साल से मुस्तकिल आपके लिए जॉब्स परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। नेक्स्ट पैरा।
Next para is the case was remanded to the tribunal for further consideration, but no length of assignment of an agency worker clearly has implications for the development of the other indication of an employment relationship, with those utilizing the services of the worker, forgetting a true nature of the relationship and behaving toward the worker as if they were an employee. It may be that this point that relevant approach also starts to involve the integration test.
राइट, सो इंटीग्रेशन टेस्ट पूरा हो रहा है इसमें, और लोग भूल चुके हैं कि वो एम्प्लॉई है या सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड है, क्योंकि वो बिकॉज ऑफ द लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस ही हैज प्रोवाइडेड। ठीक है, अब इसके लिए उन्होंने एक केस सामने रखा है। एंड व्हाट इज द केस? केस अच्छा इसमें नहीं है, केस दोनों का कंबाइंड है। कंट्रोल ओवर द वर्कर। व्हाट इज द कंट्रोल ओवर द वर्कर इन Zavi?
Where the client of the agency has sufficient control over the employee provided by the agency, it could be held that they are in fact the true employer.
राइट, यानी
They've
एजेंट जो
got a
काम
they've
करता है
got
वो
a lot of
पूरा
control.
उसकी निटी ग्रिटी हर चीज किसके पास है? एम्प्लॉयर के पास है। कंट्रोल ओवर द वर्कर। सो नाउ देयर इज अ केस Motorola versus Davidson and Melville Trade 2001. You guys read it the way I demonstrated it and explain it to me.
Right.
जी हो गया, पढ़ लिया केस, क्या समझ आ रहा है?
There
Ma'am,
was an agent.
अली
yes.
अली
Yes,
बोले.
Ma'am, Davidson was hired by an agency, and then he was transferred to the Motorola. And then the Motorola sent back the Davidson, uh, saying that he is not disciplinary. So Davidson sue the Motorola company.
Then
So then the decision was Motorola had a control over Davidson, so they were the employer of Davidson. Should be responsible for that.
what do you think, which test has been complied? Which tests have been complied in this case?
control.
Motorola had sufficient control over Davidson to make them the employer. Number one, control test. Number two,
Number two is
do you think economic reality is being considered?
yes,
Do you think
because the
integration is being
reality
considered?
integration.
All right. Now, please ensure or please note this line. What does it say? This does not always mean that an employee will not be treated as an independent contractor by the court. However, much depends on the three tests. So it is essential that you make every case go through all the three tests, not just one. Okay, so that's the thing that I would like you guys to note, that it is compulsion to check all the three tests. All right. And still, if there is any confusion left, then what we need to do, we need to check the contract even carefully. Okay. Next, in the above case, the judge held a contract of service existed where, sorry, one. So over here, Davidson was contracted with Melville Craig Agency and was assigned to work for Motorola. Both the agency and Motorola had agreed that Davidson could be sent back to the agency if his work was unacceptable. Following a disciplinary hearing, Davidson was found unacceptable and returned to the agency. Davidson took Motorola to an employment tribunal for unfair dismissal. Now, only an employee can do that. An employee can go to the court and charge the company or charge the employer for a tribunal for an unfair dismissal. Self-employed person cannot do that because it is the basic right of the employer to dismiss him if he is not satisfied with the work. So Motorola had sufficient control over Davidson to make them the employer. The decision is coming over here कि Motorola ने देखा, the court ने देखा that there was sufficient control, so they become the employer. It was held that the court should look beyond the pure legal situation and look at the practical control aspects in such cases as well.
But ma'am, this seems very unfair because they already decided it earlier that if things will not go like the way they are expecting, then they will send him back. So
Yes,
it was kind of a verbal
decided
contract.
earlier. Exactly, it was decided earlier. But see, there is a lot of thing which is not being written over here. बहुत सारी चीजें यहाँ नहीं लिखी हुई. And when a court case is heard or a case is solved or a judgment is passed, there are a lot many factors to bring into consideration. For example, मैंने पहले ही बोल दिया अगर मुझे तुम्हारा काम नहीं पसंद आया तो मैं नहीं तुम्हें रखूंगी, ठीक है? And somewhere in my mind I am biased. I'm biased that I am only going to keep female staff and I don't like male staff at all. So मेल स्टाफ को रखते हुए मैंने पहले ही बोल दिया कि भैया तुम जो हो ना, मतलब ठीक है मैं करा रही हूँ काम, मगर मुझे समझ नहीं आया तो मैं निकाल दूंगी. उसने भी कहा ठीक है. I start taking work from him and I am guiding him for each and every step he takes. I am telling him ऐसे करो, मुझे ये चाहिए, ये करो, वो करो, यहाँ क्यों बैठ गए, उधर बैठो, ये पेंट लगाओ, वो पेंट लगाओ. अब उसने वही पेंट लगाया जो मैंने बोला, मगर मुझे वो पेंट नहीं पसंद आया होने के बाद. And then I say no, I don't like your work, I am sending you out, go away, I am not even paying you the firm. ठीक है, ये बात पहले हो गई थी कि मैं उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करूंगी. इफ आई डोंट लाइक द वर्क आई विल जस्ट चक हिम आउट. बट ये भी तो देखो कि मैंने ही तो उसको बोला कि मुझे ये पेंट का कलर चाहिए और उसने वही पेंट का कलर किया. But still I am taking out कीड़े in his work. I am taking out some, worms.
But
I'm
ma'am,
saying,
if
no,
we
I
talk
don't
about
like it.
organization and firms, like hundreds of people are working under them. So
People
don't
are
you think it's very difficult? Everybody is going to the court and asking, they're taking out, for the firms to take out time and go to the court all the time and,
Yes, it is.
and get that.
Yes, it is. That's why the UK has made a proper body only to hear the employee-employer cases. That's separate. That's why they are again and again mentioning the name tribunal. What's a tribunal? It's a small body which hears the grievances of the employee and employers only. Specifically, it has been created, and tribunal is a small body. If the tribunal is unable to solve the problem, then they will go to the court, the proper legal court. But the employee tribunal is a separate body. They have created this for this purpose क्योंकि रोजमर्रा के बहुत छोटे-छोटे झगड़े होते हैं. एम्प्लॉय तो बात-बात पे जाके सू करते हैं.
Exactly.
फिर एम्प्लॉयर भी बात-बात पे जाके किसी भी बात पे सू कर सकते हैं. So,
But
because
if
you
if
see,
they,
now you just
they don't
imagine,
win the case, do
Kinza,
they have
just
to pay
imagine,
penalty?
just a minute, just imagine the same court structure, the rights which a citizen has in UK, and just imagine that today you get those rights in Pakistan. What are you going to do as a human, as a citizen? Okay, we will be going to the court for each and every little thing. सड़कें खराब हैं,
Exactly.
गटर बह रहे हैं, ये हो
True.
रहा है, वो हो रहा है, उसने ये कर दिया. We have
Right.
so many complaints. Okay, we have so many complaints all the
That's
time. So
right.
when you get that right, when you get that opportunity, that platform where somebody is saying, yeah, this is a platform for you guys, so you come here with your grievances. So why not everybody is going to avail it? And then the court and the judges and everybody who is in charge over there, they'll go mad and crazy. So they have created a proper structure. They do it with proper planning, not like us haphazard. आज दिल चाह रहे आज कर लेते हैं, आज दिल नहीं चाह रहा आज justice नहीं देंगे. They have proper structure, system, procedure, even tests. कि मेरी जो knowledge है कि employee कौन होता है, self employed कौन होता है. No. तुम अपना दिमाग मत इस्तेमाल करो. There are some rules, follow the rules. There are some tests, 3 tests, control test, integration test. अगर तीनों पे लग रहा है, टेस्ट पे ओके हो रहा है, क्लियर हो रहा है, that means self employed. नहीं हो रहा है, that means employed. You had a question? Kinza, you were saying something. I stopped you.
No, ma'am. Yes, I was saying that if, like, for example, employee is going to the court. Employee is going to the court and if like I lose, if I am an employer, if I lose the case, so do I have to give any penalty because I'm wasting the court time plus the company's organization's time?
Okay. Can you please repeat your question, Kinza? There was a lot of disturbance.
Ma'am, I'm asking like as if like I'm going to the court and I'm filing a case on you on the organization, and if I fail, if I lose, so do I have to pay a penalty or something because I'm wasting a lot of time of the organization plus the court?
Okay, the thing is that if you go to the court and you go the intention to just be naughty, to just have fun. So if your intention becomes clear to the court, yes, definitely you'll be penalized for it. But if that intention is not there, not present, and the court knows that you're genuine, because पता चल जाता है, they are so experienced, they तो बंदे को देखकर चेहरा पढ़ लेते हैं कि ये किस नियत से आया है क्या है.
Okay.
Because they are in that field, they are an experts, and they know.
Yes.
मतलब मुजरिम का भी चेहरे से पता चल जाता है मुजरिम है और कौन सा है, but they have to go through a proper procedure, no matter how experienced they are. So yes, of course, ऐसा नहीं है कि कोर्ट सिर्फ आवाम के लिए, सिटीजन्स के लिए. The judges are also humans and they are part of this आवाम. And if they are being wronged or being done wrong, they can also take action, and there are rules for that also. What do you think? जहाँ इंसाफ इतना है कि हर बंदे को, हर सिटीजन को दिया जा रहा है, तो वहाँ जजेस का ख्याल नहीं रखा जाता होगा जो उनके इंसाफ देने वाले, right? So they do have certain rules over there. Right, next, relevant factors. Ali, please read. Ali?
Relevant factors. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Significant factors that you should consider when deciding whether or not a person is employed or self-employed are as follows. Does the employee use their own tool and equipment, or does the employer provide them? Does the alleged employer have the power to select or appoint its employees or dismiss them? Payment of salary is in fair indication of being a contract. Working for a number of different people is not necessary a sign of self-employment. A number of well-assigned may be constituted as a series of employment.
क्या कह
In
रहे हो?
difficult cases, court will consider whether the employee can delegate their obligation, whether there is a restriction as to place of work, and whether there is a mutual obligation where holidays and hours are agreed.
So I hope this is clear, because it's just a repetition of all the
Yes.
things we have discussed till now. So here is a case, you can go through it at home. There would be many cases we would be coming across throughout F4. The important ones which I would feel I would make you go through in the class, and the ones which are left, you can go through them at home. Okay. Why does it matter? What matters? मतलब कि employed और self-employed का differentiation क्यों matter करता है? Because there are certain rights which are available to an individual and how they are treated for tax purposes. So for this reason, it is highly important and significant to know the distinction as discussed in the start of the chapter. Now, how are you going to differentiate? On the basis of social security, on the basis of taxation, on the basis of employment protection, on the basis of tortious acts. Now, what are tortious acts? What are tortious acts? It's a
I have no idea.
tortious acts मतलब mistake, accident, गलती से हो जाना.
Oh,
Okay. अब जाहिर है, अब मैं यहाँ पे अगर the doctor is operating in the hospital and इंसान है, mistake हो सकती है. They might forget any tiny piece inside the human body, a foreign particle. They might not be in the good state of mind while operating. So because of which they are unable to perform well, and maybe the patient dies. Okay. So these kind of tortious acts. Maybe there is a driver you hired and the driver was drunk and he met with an accident and a person got injured. So all of these things can happen. But when you are an employee, it becomes the responsibility of the employer. He becomes liable. But when the mistake
liable
happens,
if you're on duty. Otherwise, if like accident is
Yes.
happening later at night,
yeah,
not then.
no. When you're on duty and you're performing a duty,
Yeah.
you're performing that duty. While performing it, you meet with an accident. And if you're self-employed, then doing that mistake does not hold the employer responsible. Again, it depends upon the test of controls.
Yeah,
If the
depends.
test of controls means, despite the fact that he is self-employed and the control was with the employer, then it was employers. It would be held. The employer would be held liable. Okay. Next,
Okay.
implied terms. Implied terms, no. Now see, when you are an employee, there are few things which are implied, which are not written in the contract, but it's understood.
Okay.
It's understood. Like, for example, if I hire a teacher for my institute, I might not mention that you will support the student, you need to motivate the student. If he fails, you need to give him extra support. I might
Or
not
you need to dress
mention in the contract.
appropriate.
Yeah, or you need to dress appropriately. I will not be saying all those stuff, but understood. You as
Yeah.
a teacher are coming to the institute, you must take care of your how you are dressing, you must be alert, you must be present, very much present, and you must give some extra support to your students. You must
Yeah.
talk nicely or you must motivate them. That's but obvious. No need to mention in the contract. But what
That's
about the
right.
self-employed people? Now, these implied terms do not apply to self-employed people.
Yeah.
If I'm calling a plumber, of course I'm not indicating him कि आप भाई कपड़े पहन के आओ, ऐसे होने चाहिए, आप स्कूल आ रहे हो.
True.
Neither would I be expecting from him.
Yeah.
Because he's just electrician or a plumber. ठीक है, बस वो तो जो उसके पास होगा वही पहन के आएगा. So something like that. So these implied rights and duties do not apply to such an extent to contract or services. Next, that. That is value added tax. Employees do not have to register for charge or VAT. Okay, why? Because they are employees. But independent contractor must register for VAT. Okay, next, bankruptcy. If employer's liquidation, in an employer's liquidation, an employee has preferential rights as a creditor for payment, whereas contractors are treated as non-preferential creditors. We read it yesterday only कि जब winding up होगा या liquidation का process होगा, तो
So the
employer
first will be employee. Yeah.
exactly you have
Has
to
to.
pay them off because you will be treating them as your preferential creditors.
Yeah.
But as per the contractors, they would be treated as non-preferential creditors. And the last but not the least, health and safety. Anything wrong on this part, and if the person is an employee, it is employer's duty to make sure that he is responsible. But if he is a contractor, an independent contractor, then it is not the employer's responsibility to make it to ensure that, but it is independent contractor's responsibility to ensure that. For example, electrician को हम बुलाते हैं, ये इलेक्ट्रिशियन को बुलाया है यार, एक्सपर्ट को बुलाया है, किसी राह चलते बंदे को थोड़ी बुलाया है. You must know that the wires have current.
That's right.
And if he touches the wire which has current and something happens to him and then he goes to the court and blames the employer, यार इसमें हमारा क्या कसूर है, तुम तो खुद इलेक्ट्रिशियन हो, तुम तो खुद इसके एक्सपर्ट हो, तुम्हें तो हमसे बेहतर पता होना चाहिए कि भाई इसमें करंट होगा तो मुझे क्या क्या प्रिकॉशंस लेकर काम करने.
True.
Right? So
Yeah.
you cannot expect these kind of things from the company. Now, employment contract basic issues. भाई issue तो होता है. क्यों issue होता है? दो reason. There are two types of contracts. First is express. Express means मुंह जबानी. मैंने बोला आ जाना, तुमने कहा ओके, मैंने कहा 1000 दूंगी, तुमने कहा ओके, तुम आ गए, काम भी कर दिया, पैसे भी दे दिए, खत्म. मुंह जबानी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ, काम खत्म. बिकॉज it's not necessary that every contract will be complicated, will be long, needs to be
Exactly.
written. अब आप घर में ही देख लो ना, रोजमर्रा में आप लोग कितने डे टू डे रूटीन में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स कर रहे हो. यू आर गोइंग, यू आर परचेजिंग समथिंग, मे बी योर ममा इज कॉलिंग सम मेड टू क्लीन अप समथिंग, सो शी इज जस्ट कमिंग ऑन अ डे बेसिस दैट ओके. या मे बी यू नो शादी का सामान है, 1 महीने की शादी है, मेहमानों ने आना है, यू आर हायरिंग सम एक्स्ट्रा स्टाफ to you know take care
That's
of the
right.
marital stuff. ये इधर से उधर सफाई, ये वो, मेहमानों ने आने, कपड़े धुलेंगे, खाना पकेगा, so you're hiring someone, so this is just an express contract, not a written. हाँ सामान
Okay.
रखा है,
Just
2
a
दिन
oral
बिल
one.
है. Yeah, but what about implied? Implied means
In written.
I'm no. Implied means I'm not saying it clearly, but it's expected of you. मतलब it's but understood. समझ रहे हो?
Okay.
Like for example, I
For
have a
example, if the maid is coming, so it's obvious that she has to clean up the whole house. She cannot say that, no, I'm just cleaning up one room. So it's expected.
yeah, we can use another example that हमने मेड को रखा है and we asked her that आपकी सिर्फ ड्यूटी है आके बर्तन धोने, सिर्फ बर्तन धोने हैं, बर्तन समेटने हैं, बर्तन धोने हैं, बर्तन समेटने हैं, बस यही जॉब है। और वो भी हैरान होती है, यार सिर्फ बर्तन धोने हैं, मतलब मेरा काम तो 1 घंटे में हो जाएगा, आधे घंटे में हो जाएगा, कितने बर्तन होंगे? And she doesn't know, and out of surprise when she comes, it's a 50 people family, and moreover शादी का माहौल है तो गेस्ट्स वगैरह भी आ गए हैं, तो अब वहाँ पे 70 लोग हैं, बड़े घर में 70 लोग हैं और उसका काम ही सारा बर्तन धोना है, तो वो 1 घंटे का तो काम है नहीं, तो 5 घंटे तो उसको लग ही जाएंगे सब बर्तन धोते धवाते करते समेटते समाटते, ठीक है। She didn't realize that, but she agreed to it, ठीक है, before she agreed to it, उसको नहीं अंदाजा था, जब अग्री कर लिया तो अब तो जाहिर है, अब जब अग्री कर लिया तो अग्री कर लिया, और ये तो अंडरस्टूड सी बात है, जितने भी बर्तन होंगे, तुमने तो पूछा ही नहीं मुझसे कितने घंटे का काम है या कितने लोगों के बर्तन है, तुमने तो खुद ही अज्यूम कर लिया कि ज्यादा 2.5 घंटे का होगा, ठीक है। नाउ इफ शी हैज सम ग्रीवेंस शी कैन अगेन से कि नहीं भाभी ये तो बहुत ज्यादा काम है, मुझे ऐसे नहीं, मैंने ऐसे सोचा नहीं था, और मेरी तो या तो पे पड़ाओ या तो मैं जा रही हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता, ये तो बहुत ज्यादा है, 70 लोगों के बर्तन धोना कोई आसान काम नहीं, ठीक है। She might say that, she maybe out of hesitation she might continue कि भाई मैंने तो खुद ही अग्री किया था, तो अब मैं किस मुंह से बोलूं, छोड़ो। either of one can happen, तो implied में बहुत सारी चीजें हो जाती हैं जो आप मुंह से नहीं बोलते हो मगर एक्सपेक्ट करते हो। Again we can use the example, I hired a teacher and it is implied, it is but obvious कि भाई बच्चों को पढ़ाने के साथ साथ जो टेस्ट भी है वो तुम ही बना के दोगे ना, कि तुम टीचर हो।
Exactly.
और तुम ही चेक करोगे, तो ये तो बट ऑब्वियस हो गया, ये मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में लिखूं या ना लिखूं, यू आर अ टीचर, यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग अ स्टूडेंट फॉर अ सब्जेक्ट, so you have to make the questions and you have to make sure that they pass or clear their exams, you have to give
That's
the
right.
extra support, you have to motivate them if they flunk, so it's up to you, that's implied, that's not expressed। all right, now it can be oral or written, oral मुंह ज़बानी, written लिखत, ठीक है। Express means using the words, you are expressing it, imply means you are not using the words but it's the norm of the industry or it's but understood। now it's the norm of the industry that school means 8 से 1 बजे तक, ये कहीं लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, अगर आप स्कूल में दाखिला करने जा रहे हैं तो कोई भी माँ बाप ये एक्सपेक्टेशन से नहीं जाएगा, एंड इट्स बट ऑब्वियस कहीं लिखा हो या ना लिखा हो कि स्कूल 1 से 5 बजे तक, इट्स ऑब्वियस, इट्स द नॉर्म कि स्कूल 8 से 1 बजे तक हो, ठीक। ऑल राइट, मूविंग अहेड,
But actually, I think the worst thing about writing a contract and signing it is that the terms and condition are so big, so lengthy that we never read it and we just straight away sign it. Whenever like we're going to a
especially with
bank
the
or
banks,
anybody else.
exactly,
Yeah.
but when you enter into a contract it means you have the intention to create legal relations, what does this mean?
Whatever the law says, it's not that for my own sake, I'm just asking you to sign it or to make it.
Ali, what
It
does
should
it
be
mean?
legal.
Intention to create legal relation means he's into like making a contract.
You want the contract to be legally bound, what does that mean,
Yeah,
legally
legally.
bound? तब अगर ब्रीच हुआ, कोई मसला हुआ, I will go straight to the court।
Hmm.
A contract means that, do you know that nikah is also a contract?
Yes.
Yes.
And if there is any problem in the nikah's terms and conditions, if you breach it, you can go to the court and sue your spouse, right? So this is a legal right. This is a legal right given to any individual who is entering into a contract. And contracts are made so that their rights are protected and nobody breaches it, and it is made sure that they perform it, and also that in case of any breach, there is someone we can go to solve the issue. That is an intention to create legal relations. Okay. Implied terms. Kinza, please go through.
Implied terms usually arise out of custom or practice within a profession or industry. In Henry versus London General Transport Service Limited 2001, it was held that four requirements should be met before such terms can be read into a contract. The term must be reasonable, certain, and notorious.
Notorious.
They must represent the wishes of both parties. Proof of custom or practice must be provided by the party seeking to rely on the term. A distinction must be made between implying terms that make minor and terms that make fundamental changes to the contract.
All right. Now, terms must be reasonable, certain, notorious. Can you give an example? क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
It should be very realistic terms, not like something which can. It's not a realistic, and we cannot follow it later. We are signing in, but we cannot.
Unrealistic terms or illegal.
Yeah,
I'm asking someone to go and shoot. Of course, he's not going to fulfill that term
that's
or
right.
that condition. And then
Yeah.
you're suing him in the court that उसने breach किया. तो आपने illegal term क्यों लिखा? So number one,
True.
implied terms should be मतलब custom है, practice है, it's obvious कि जब यहाँ पाकिस्तान में शादी होती है तो निकाह होता है, मस्जिद में होता है. These things are obvious. These are, even if they are not said through the mouth or expressed, we know what are the customs and practice. If you go to a foreign country, you know how the marriage is done over there. If you go to a Hindu country, you know how the marriages are done. It's but obvious. Okay. So reasonable, it should be reasonable. No illegal, no, not unrealistic कि जो चांद से तारे तोड़ के लाओ, या मट्टी जो है जिससे तुम ये बिल्डिंग बनाओगे वो चांद की होनी चाहिए, मार्स की होनी चाहिए. ठीक है? Nothing of that sort. Next, they must represent the wishes of both the parties. Contract one-sided नहीं हो सकता. Both the parties can keep the conditions. Both the party must put some conditions and terms in the contract. Proof of the custom or practice must be provided by the party seeking to rely on the term. अब implied का मतलब है कि आपने उसको बोला नहीं है, आपने उसको लिखा नहीं है. So implied अगर आपको कोर्ट में प्रूफ करना पड़ जाए तो आप कैसे प्रूफ करोगे? यही प्रूफ करोगे ना कि ये तो बट ऑब्वियस है, हमारी इंडस्ट्री में यही नॉर्म है, यही कल्चर है, यही प्रैक्टिस है. देख लें 95% ऑफ द स्कूल सुबह 8 से 1 बजे तक होते हैं. तो हाउ कैन you just sue us for this reason? A distinction must be made between implying terms that make minor and terms that make fundamental changes to the contract. Now, you should be, as an organization or as a person who is entering the contract, be very clear that what implied terms are minor. कि जिसमें हम बोल सकते हैं जाने दो यार, let it go. Why to sue for such a little thing?
Exactly.
And कौन से ऐसे terms हैं कि जो fundamental हैं, और अगर उसमें कोई compromise आ रहा है तो then you have to take action for it. Okay.
That's
Next.
right.
Requirement for written particulars. You can go through this requirement, names of employer, employee. Now we are talking about employment contract particularly because this is a chapter about employer and employee. The date on which employment began, pay scale, hours, holidays, sick leave, pension schemes. मतलब ये सारी चीजें डिटेल में मेंशन होनी चाहिए. इनमें से कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं है जो इम्प्लाइड है. इसमें से कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं है जो इम्प्लाइड में फॉल करता है. You have to abide by it. Next. Common law duties. Common law duties employer की क्या है? To take reasonable care of employees. They must select proper staff, materials, provide a safe working environment. Employee has a duty of faithful service, loyal रहे, care and skill के साथ perform करे duties, लापरवाही ना करे. Now we have a set of employees' duties and employers' duties, which I think you can go through by yourself. It is but the repetition of the same points. Pay करना time पे, health and safety का ख्याल रखना, indemnify the employee. What do you understand by this term, indemnify the employee? Ali? Okay, indemnify the employee means that I ask the employee, मेरी दुकान है, ठीक है, मेरी दुकान है ज्वेलरी की, एंड आई आस्क द एम्प्लॉई के एम्प्लॉई काउंटर पे है और वो ही कस्टमर को ज्वेलरी दिखाता है, मैं तो कैश काउंटर पे होता, ठीक है, so he is there showing the jewelry and everything to the customer, and I have trained him that whoever comes to our shop, he must be offered drink, water or tea, coffee, anything. There is no ifs and buts to it. Every customer, whoever comes, whether he purchases or he does not purchase, he must be offered water, drink or tea, whatever he likes. Now I've given that instruction. I'm sitting in the cash counter. I don't know how this person is dealing with the customer, but I know I have given the instructions and the employee has to follow, and he will follow. So it might happen that he does not have time to approach me and take cash from me to order drink, tea or water. So what he will do, he can do that. He has some change in his pocket and he gives it to the छोटू, जाके जरा पानी ले आओ, छोटू जाके जरा चाय ले आओ, तो फौरन उसको पैसे दिए और वो जाके ले आया, बट वो पैसे उसके जाती पैसे थे. Now it is the employer's duty or responsibility to indemnify the employee for the expense he has made related to the work. It is possible that you have to meet a client and client रहता है डिफेंस में, नॉर्थ नाजिराबाद से डिफेंस जाने के लिए आप अपने जेब से किराया भर रहे हो. So you're going there for a job purpose, you're representing the organization when you're going to the client. So it is the duty of the employer to indemnify you as an employee, to indemnify you for the expenses or losses incurred in the course of employment. That is a duty. Clear?
Yes.
All right. And next, the others are the same things which we have discussed. What are the statutory duties? What does the state say कि भैया ये तो आपको करना पड़ेगा? So it includes pay and equality. Pay वक्त पे दो, जायज पे दो, reasonable दो, हक का दो जो उसका हक है, जितना उसका skill है, caliber है, qualification है. Time of work, जो ऑफ टाइम है वो ऑफ टाइम है, उसको ऑफ कर दो. Maternity rights, work life balance, ठीक है, वो देने चाहिए. Health and safety, working time, all of this state says that to the employer that you have to do. Now for each of it there is a small para which I would recommend you can go through it. For pay and equality there is a National Minimum Wages Act, there is Equality Act. इक्वालिटी दैट मीन्स जेंडर के बेसिस पे आपने डिफरेंशिएट नहीं करना कि भाई आप खातून हो तो हम आपको नहीं रखेंगे जॉब पे. इफ शी इज कॉम्पिटेंट इनफ यू हैव टू कीप हर. नेशनल वेज एक्ट सेज दैट मिनिमम वेज होनी चाहिए, इससे कम में नहीं रखना आपने एम्प्लॉय को, इससे कम में दे विल बी एक्सप्लॉइटेड. सो मिनिमम एंड मैक्सिमम तो आपके ऊपर है, उसके कैलिबर के ऊपर है. डिफरेंशिएशन एज के ऊपर, डिसेबिलिटी, सेक्स, रेस, कलर, रीजन, मैरिज, प्रेगनेंसी, दिस शुड नॉट come in between or hinder between the appointment of the particular person. If he is competent and capable and qualified enough, eligible for the post, then he must be hired. Okay ji. So I think the rest you can read it yourself because very much general knowledge stuff. All right, varying the terms of an employment contract. Yes, can Zabbi read?
A contract of employment can only be varied if the contract expressly give that right or if all parties consent of variation. It can only be, the contract can only be changed if they are, all the parties are ready for it and they expressly given that right.
Expressly gives that right, यानी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में लिखा हुआ है कि चेंजेस कभी भी हम कर सकते
Okay,
हैं,
okay,
या
okay.
लिखा हुआ है कि 6 महीने बाद इसमें चेंजेस हम करेंगे. If the contract itself states that, then it's okay. And if all parties have consented to it, they have already signed it, then it's okay. Okay, there can be three ways in which you can bring changes to the contract. Either you just change the terms slightly, maybe you add something or remove something. Maybe you're changing the existing contract. That means your 1 साल का contract था वो खत्म हो गया, तो अब आपने उसी को या extend कर दिया. That is the existing contract. You're changing the existing contract. You're either extending it or you're adding some more points and extending the same contract. मतलब उस सेम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ही कुछ तब्दीली करके आप उसी को you're making the same contract work more. Okay, signing a new contract means okay आपने उसको खत्म कर दिया and you're starting a fresh chapter, fresh contract with fresh terms or fresh things, means you're signing a new contract. Okay, so these are the three ways. Either you're making little bit changes varying to the same contract, either you're changing the existing contract completely, or adding some major elements to it, and third is signing a new contract. Next, continuous employment. Ali, please read.
Continuous employment. Many rights given to the employer under the Employment Right Act 1996 are only available if an employee has a specified period of continuous employment.
Right, so what is it saying?
It is saying an employee should be continuous, otherwise the rights would not be given.
Okay, अब कुछ चीजें होती हैं जो हम स्पेशल एम्प्लॉयज को देते हैं. कुछ राइट्स ऐसे होते हैं जो activate होते हैं once the employee has completed for say 5 years of tenure in the same company. If that person has completed 5 years in that same company, offering his services with loyalty, with dedication, then some more rights open up for him. It could be anything. It could be as per the organization needs. It could be anything as per the state government. You can open up some special opportunities for that particular employee. Transfer of undertakings. Transfer of undertakings means what? Kinza, please read.
Another factor that impacts on continuous service is when a business or undertaking is transferred by one person to another, where the business is transferred so that an employee works for a new employer. This change represents no break in the continuous service of the employee. Like, for example, I'm selling my business to you, but whoever people are working under my conditions, my services, now just the boss, just the owner has been changed, but the contract is same with them.
Yes, and that does not nullify the service 5 years of service of that particular employee.
Yeah, it's going to be the
उसकी
same.
वो continuation रहेगी, उसको ये नहीं कहेंगे कि अरे तो break आ गया. ठीक है? So here we have completed this chapter, alhamdulillah. Anything that you guys did not understand or you would like me to repeat?
Ma'am, I would just like you to highlight integration one more time, please. Like control and economic reality is okay, just integration.
Integration
It's the
means
position
integrate
to
का
check,
literal meaning क्या होता है? Integration का literal meaning क्या होता है?
to break up,
That is
to
disintegration.
join. Okay, okay, joining up.
Okay, joining. We often use this term for like when I make tea, I take all the ingredients, the tea, the milk, the water, the sugar, and how I integrate all these ingredients by cooking them, by boiling them, by using fire, I amalgamate all of these and they become one. They integrate and they become one. और वो product क्या होता है? चाय. But these are all different ingredients. So integration का मतलब यही होता है when you hire employees. I'm hiring a marketing person, I'm hiring an administrative person, I'm hiring a IT person, I'm hiring some staff, I'm hiring some maintenance, I'm hiring some guard. They all together integrate as one body and become an organization and are called an organization. They are integrated, right? So, an individual whom I'm hiring, and it seems that he's coming every day to this organization, making things happen, performing a role, maybe of an electrician, maybe of a plumber, and maybe of a painter, maybe of a just safai wala, maybe of anyone, and he's coming on a daily basis that it feels that without him the organization is incomplete. He is indeed so and so that he is integrated into the operational services of that organization.
Okay, okay. I
That
got
is
it.
integration.
Okay.
But if he is not present for a week and he comes once in 15 days, once in 2 months,
Yeah,
maybe twice or thrice a month, that does not qualify him to be integrated into the organization, or does he?
got it. Yeah, got it.
Okay. Anything else, Ali?
No.
Okay. Nothing, Ali. So I hope everything is clear and makes sense. So inshallah, we'll be
Yes.
continuing tomorrow with another chapter of employment law. Okay. So till then, take care. Allah Hafiz, and be ready for your test. That's going to happen today. Inshallah,
Okay, ma'am.
7 p.m. I think that's the timing given to you guys.
Yeah.
Is this timing okay for both of you?
Yeah,
Convenient?
it's okay for me. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank
Allah
you.
Hafiz.
Allah.